Starting here at line 180, we define the OnClickListener for the Save button. And basically this is going to enable the user to take the temporary recording file and rename it to whatever name the user specifies in an alert dialog. So you can see here in the onClick method that we're going to get a layout inflator, and we're going to be using that to inflate the custom view that will be displayed inside of the alert dialog. From that view, you can see that we're getting a reference to the name edit text, which is where the user will enter the name for the recording file. At line 195 and 6, we create a new alert dialog builder, and we set its view here at line 197 to the custom view that we have inflated up above at line 190. We specify the title for this dialog, and then we create the positive buttons event listener. You can see here that the positive button is going to have the string represented by the resource button save, and it's got a new dialog interface.onClickListener defined for it that specifies what to do based on what the user types into the name edit text. So the first thing we do in this OnClick event listener, is we get the name the user typed. So we go to the name edit text, call getText, which, if you recall, returns not a string but an editable. We then call toString on that to get the string representation of the text that the user entered, and we make sure that there's no leading or trailing white space by calling the trim method on that string. Now, if after doing that we find that the length of the string is 0, we're not going to allow the user to rename the file. Instead, we will jump down to the else part of this if-else statement and display a toast saying that the user must specify a file name for that recording. If, on the other hand, it's a non-zero length for the string, we're going to get the temporary file from the buttons tag, and we cast that to type file because, remember, get tag is used to store any object of information with a GUI control, and then we can use that however we like when handling events for that control. So we get the tag, which you may recall earlier when we set up the recording in the first place, we stored with both the save button and the delete button the file object as the button's tags. Then at lines 211 through 214, we create a new file object, and in this case what we're doing is creating a name that we're going to use to rename the file. And we're going to go to the app's default files directory. We're going to get the absolute path for that directory. We're going to add to it the standard file separator, followed by the name the user specifies and the .3gp extension. Then at line 215, we're going to simply rename the temporary file and then set the various buttons to be either enabled or disabled based on the current state of the app.